Hey Nintendo fans and collectors, Lithium here from my channel Nintendo Collecting. Operation Rainfall. That's a project to basically localize 3 Japanese games that were always intended, by Nintendo standards, to be exclusive to Japan. What the Operation Rainfall essentially did, it was the prime contributing factor to try and convince Nintendo that, hey, gamers in the United States, in Canada, in Mexico, and in all of Europe really do want to play these games. We want to enjoy them as well because they're really good games. And if you've actually never heard of Xenoblade Chronicles, The Last Story, or Pandora's Tower, you owe it to yourself to know of them now and to try and learn about how good these games are because you should definitely play them. The rest of the world actually had some really cool boxed sets, or they actually had some collector's editions that North America never had. So I actually imported this box that I'll be keeping my trilogy in, that I would also like to talk about this video, and it came with a collector's artwork book as well, but I'll get to that at the end of the video to actually hold my games in. So of these 3 games, the first one to be localized in North America anyways was Xenoblade Chronicles. If you've never heard of this game before, this is actually one of the best games of last generation and one of the best games on the Nintendo Wii. It really is truly that fantastic, and a sequel is actually going to be coming out for the Wii U. Right now I just think it's called Monolith Soft's X. Monolith Soft was the developer, I believe, of this game. Nintendo had a hand in it as well, and it's fantastic. So this version, this copy anyways, is still factory sealed. I'm going to keep it factory sealed, but this game actually did release in North America almost a full 2 years after the release of it elsewhere in the world, in Japan anyways. So this game actually came out in 2010, June 10th, in Japan, but then in North America it was released on August 6th, 2012. It currently has a Metacritic score of 92%, making it one of the best games on the Wii, definitely, and if you've never played it before, you owe it to yourself to try and find a copy of this if you can. The second game of Operation Rainfall is called The Last Story. Now, it's actually going to knock over the rest of these games, so I'm just going to leave them on the side as I talk about The Last Story and actually unbox this for you because it's still sealed and I want to get down to the bare bones of the game. This is the second one to be released as part of Operation Rainfall, and The Last Story was actually released on January 27th, 2011 in Japan, and then a year and a half later in North America on August 14th, 2012, which is pretty incredible. So like I said, in North America, we were only lucky enough to get this collector's version of the games. Xenoblade Chronicles and Pandora's Tower never really had a collector's case here in North America. I do believe in Europe, all 3 of them were given some sort of a collector's edition set. So I was kind of jealous of them, and that's why I imported that box that I'll get to in a bit. But this game is actually really good as well. It didn't receive as good a score as Xenoblade Chronicles, but this game, currently on Metacritic, as I unbox this for you and just talk about it, I believe it has a score of roughly 80%, which is very respectable. And essentially, this game is, at least the artwork is modeled by the same guy who did Final Fantasy series, which is really cool, and that's why you kind of see some comparisons to Final Fantasy with this game. Now, after I take off all that box packaging, there is this little slip that usually houses, or it does house, the case. So this one, I'm just going to show you briefly. And then the back of this actually doesn't have the same artwork as the back of the other box. Just meaning for collectors, I'm going to hold on to this. So I'm just going to put it at the side, and I'm not going to lose that. And I'll show you where I actually will hopefully keep that. So this, The Last Story's Collector's Edition, looks pretty awesome because it's made to look like it's all pages. And it's made to look like it's a book, like a story. It does come with this art gallery, and this book on its own, you can try and find if you're a collector just to have because it's really cool if you're a fan of the game. Again, the current score on Metacritic is 80, which is a really solid game from Nintendo, from Xseed Games. So there is that collector's box. Just going to put that over there. There is finally The Last Story, which is the normal release, which you can still sometimes find in stores if you're lucky enough, but a lot of them are hard to find. I picked up this copy of the collector's edition actually several months ago. It's been a long time now. And let's just go through this art book, but I have another art book to show you as well. I love the look of that tiger right there as well. So the art book, this one is in basically gloss. It looks really fantastic. That seagull looks amazing. So that's Lazulus Island. This is a back street in Lazulus City, which looks pretty fantastic. Stargazer's Tower looks really awesome, kind of similar, a tower idea, concept as part of all these games. This is called Imbued with Power of the Outsider. That looks pretty awesome. Love the artwork of this game. There's a sense of security found in reality, so it's beyond traditional RPG boundaries. And there's a little bit talk about the concept art by the guy who actually was the creator of Final Fantasy series, or had a hand in it anyways. And I'm going to pronounce these names wrong, so I really don't want to get them wrong. But here's Zale. That's how I pronounce them anyways. Callista. She looks really cool. More Callista, and how did I ever pronounce this name? Degran? Degran. Almost like dragon. Very close. It's like an anagram for it. Lowell and Serene. Uruk and Mirania. Looking really cool. Of course, you gotta have a character with an eye patch in a game like this. Argonon and Geral. Asthar and Therius. Such cool characters, such cool character design. Really does remind me of the Final Fantasy series for sure. This is Zoran and Bandit and an assassin. Zale's mother, Zale when he's in boyhood. And then also Dagran when he's in boyhood as well, or childhood it really should say, I think. Horus, Meredith, and Ariella's family. Great art. Great artwork. Looks really cool. Lesulis, Housemaid, and the Budding Mage. Wow, so they really go in depth with all this artwork. This is the first time that I'm ever looking through this. And the visualizations are really, really unique. It does remind me of Final Fantasy, but it's so imaginative. And there's some concept drawings as well on the top right-hand corner looking really cool. Design with Soul from the director of the game. And the last page, of course, just looks absolutely outstanding. So that collector's book and that collector's edition from the last story is pretty hard to find. I would probably suggest to collectors to try and pick this up now for the last story. So that brings us to 2 of the games in the trilogy. Let's just go through them right there. And then let's go to the last one. So the last one's actually going to be Pandora's Tower. Let's switch these around just as a perfectionist to have them in that order. Sure, the last game of the Operation Rainfall trilogy to come over in North America is called this one by Xseed Games again. It's Pandora's Tower. And this game actually was released in Japan on May 26th, 2011. And then it was localized to North America in April, as well as Europe and Australia. In North America, we got it on the 16th of April into 2013. Now, this game didn't quite receive the reviews as the other 2. I think this one's actually only at a 73 on Metacritic, which is still pretty respectable, which is still a really good entry into the series, or into the collector's, basically, library of games on the Wii that you should probably definitely try out, because maybe this game's for you, and maybe you'll really enjoy it. You never know. Pandora's Tower, it's basically an idea that there is a mysterious curse over this girl, and she's being deformed, basically. And it's really dark. You do need to feed on like the flesh of beasts to actually try and save her, and try and go through this game and go through this tower and save the girl that you would like to. It's crazy, really intense. And I mean, feeding the flesh of beasts to other things is kind of a ridiculous idea that I don't think Nintendo would think would be a really good idea to come out in North America or to come out in Europe. So I really do understand why Operation Rainfall existed to try and get them here, because they are good games, but I also understand Nintendo of Japan's idea in thinking that maybe they wouldn't be a good idea to come out over here anyways. So I'm just going to pick these back up, leave that collector's edition on the side. Now all 3 of these games can be housed in something that's really cool. This collector's, basically this is a case. Now I would also like to talk about this because this was apparently, or allegedly, exclusive to Europe at HMV. And you could get this if you pre-ordered Pandora's Tower for a very limited time. And I just thought, as a part of Operation Rainfall, it'd be really cool to have this box. So I did import this. I only paid $5 for it. The not cool part about it is on the side, it's just plain black. It doesn't say anything. On the front, it has the logos of all 3 games, and it says it's an epic collection. And on the back, it's the exact same. The top and bottom have nothing on them whatsoever. But the cool part about that is that it comes with this art book featuring all 3 games, so I'd like to go through that art book quickly with you. Now, it goes through the games kind of in this order. Pandora's Tower comes first, and it does have that quote from the game, "Even like this, will you still love me?" because she's going through deformations and looking particularly different pretty quickly. Here is some artwork from the game. That looks really cool. Pandora's Tower is a game that I need to get into myself, but I know I definitely have to try it. And this is Pandora's Tower, it looks like itself, if I'm not mistaken. As well as some enemies, concept art as well, looking really cool. Not really concept art, that's what they look like. Then the last story. And the quote of this one is, balancing on the edge of a knife, that's how we live our lives. Really cool enemy drawings. The artwork in this is actually incredible. Here is the cover artwork idea for the last story. That bow looks pretty cool. That looks amazing. I really believe everyone should try out these games. That looks like a gorgeous city. Looks really cool. And then the last game of the trilogy is Xenoblade Chronicles. And the quote for this one is, "In a world ravaged by war, destiny demands a hero. Will you answer the call?" And this is the one that I would really recommend to everyone to try playing if you've never played this one before. This character features, the protagonist's name is Shulk, and I would actually put a huge push for him to be in Super Smash Bros. I think that would be a really cool entry for him to join in, obviously with his insanely large sword as well. Floating islands, almost like Avatar, but nothing like Avatar. That looks amazing. And that is the art book for this trilogy, which is really cool to have. So I just thought, even though it wasn't exclusive to North America, to import this would be a neat idea. And then to actually get all 3 games and be able to store them, I'm going to keep these 3 probably sealed and try and find other versions. Usually I really want to play my games, but in this case, I'm going to put these in the order that it actually says. So let's put Pandora's Tower, then The Last Story, then Xenoblade Chronicles in this cool set. So like I said, normally I definitely want to play my games, but I know the value of this set. I know the value of actually having all 3 of them still sealed, and it's really hard and difficult for myself to actually open these. The Last Story I own another copy of, Pandora's Tower I own another copy of. Xenoblade Chronicles I need to get another copy at some point, and normally I don't say keep things sealed, but I really do see this in 10 years, this trilogy being worth a tremendous amount, especially if I actually keep it like this. I think it's really neat to have this in my collection. It's not like it's something that I'm looking to resell later on. It's something that I'm looking to keep to really increase the value of my collection, and having it in this kind of cool collector's box is something very unique to my collection, especially in North America. So if you're looking to pick up this box, you kind of need to look on eBay in Europe, and you need to get lucky. You can search for Collector's Case, you can search for HMV Operation Rainfall or Pandora's Tower. It took me a while to find it, and I'm very proud to have this in my collection as well. If you have any questions about the games, feel free to ask me. I'm sure the community that watches most of my videos is really informative as well. And if you've never played Xenoblade Chronicles, you definitely owe it to yourself to play that game, because the sequel is going to come out for the Wii U, and it's going to be hopefully equally as awesome. And I personally would love to see Shulk in the Super Smash Bros. Games that are coming out later this year. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to fill that like bucket, follow me on all the social media links in the underbar. Please comment below. Have you ever played any of these games? Did you know about Operation Rainfall? Have you any intention to actually buy them and play them yourself? Remember, as always, go collect them all.